Greetings, Habari Yako to everyone. So good to see you. So good to have another opportunity to come and share with you on this day. And I'm going to talk today a little bit about how you can succeed in America. I've been sharing a lot about what opportunities are available here in Africa. Of course, the opportunities in America is what made my trip, stay, and living experience here in Kenya possible. So that means there's something that I had to do on the other side of the ocean in order to enjoy this beautiful life on this side. So let me talk a little bit about that with you today. Speaking specifically to my African American colleagues, family members, friends, employees, team members, how can you succeed in America? Well, success is relative. Success is based on the goals that you have for your life. I set certain goals for my life that allowed me to accomplish those goals, which then fed into my other areas of life. So before we begin this conversation, only you can decide what goals do you have. And the only way you can measure that success is based on the accomplishment of those goals. Now, here are some of the strategies that I used back in America to position me where I can enjoy the liberty and freedom to travel to Kenya and enjoy this life in Kenya. Now, this is relevant whether you're planning to relocate to another country or just to establish yourself, your family, and some semblance of generational wealth there in the U.S., which I already know is possible because God has allowed me to do it. Now, one of the things I did was start a business. Now, I was working in the security industry after serving in the military and serving as a police officer with the Department of Public Safety in the state of South Carolina. Had about 8 years of military and law enforcement experience. Also worked in juvenile corrections for the state juvenile justice system. And when I relocated from South Carolina to Georgia, following one of my missionary steps in Alabama, I worked for a security company. I worked for the security company maybe 5-6 years, making the minimum salary, basic salary that the average American lives off of. And most of my coworkers also worked 2 or 3 jobs. I had a secondary source of income through my Bible college and my ministry, but it still was just enough to pay the bills. So we had a conference for one of my Bible college graduations in Morrow, Georgia. It was held at Clayton State University. And one of the worship leaders following one of our seminars approached me with the idea of him starting a security company with me being the license holder, meaning that he wanted to start the company, but he didn't qualify for the licensing. And he knew about my background as a law enforcement officer, so he asked me if I would be willing to be the license holder for a security company for him, and that he would pay me some type of compensation for every contract that was secured. I pondered it for a few weeks and finally decided that it would be best not to go that direction, because this is basically what I felt God was telling me. Why would I be willing to do for someone else when I'm not willing to do for myself? But he planted the seed. God used that gentleman to plant a seed for my security company. 3 months later, I applied, received my license, started my company. For the first 5 or 6 months, a minimum income, but income nonetheless. But then all of a sudden, after about 2 years, the company just blew up beyond my imagination. It blew up beyond any financial experience I had had in my life up to that time. Now, granted, I started that company when I was 50 years old. And this can be hope to some people who may have felt like your opportunities have been delayed and it's too late now. It also should serve as inspiration for those of you who are young people who don't push aside your dreams. The sooner you act upon your dreams, the sooner you can accomplish your dreams. This is how you can succeed, not only in America, but in anywhere around the world. You must act upon your dreams. Having a dream is not enough. You must act upon your dream. So in this instance, It was acting upon that, which really wasn't my dream, but I had the skills and experience that I had learned by being a law enforcement officer and by serving, working for another security company. So I had all the skills, knowledge, and experience that were necessary to run my own security business. So I had to act on that, and I did. That was one of the best decisions that God led me to make in my life, because that decision led to the next steps of me succeeding in America. And remember, success is based on your own goals, nobody else's goals. So you can't measure your success based on somebody else's success because their goals are different than yours. But my goals was always to be able to purchase property, own property. I'm from a rural area of South Carolina. My family always owned property. My grandfather, by the grace of God, uh, bought property, gave pieces of property to each of his sons, including my father and my uncles. So I was always raised in an area where we always owned land, had our own property, family was near each other, and a real sense of community. And that's what always stuck with me, that sense of community, always being around people who knew each other, people who cared for each other, people who cared about each other, who shared things. When one person was up and one person was down, you would share, whether that was food, whether that was money, whether that was housing, whether that was clothing. I grew up in an environment like that. So that always stuck with me. And so now that I have this security company and it has become financially successful, earning six figures US dollars. And I had never experienced financial breakthroughs in that way. But now I'm experiencing it to a degree where it's more work than I can do myself. I have to start hiring people to work some of the accounts. And eventually, as God revealed it to me, you could either go in business for yourself, which means you'll do the work, but you're only one person and you can only do so much, or you can learn how to run a company. I chose the second option. Teach me how to run a company. And then I started subcontracting my accounts out to other licensed private security companies, which caused my business to grow and gave me more freedom to engage in other areas of life that I wanted to pursue. And one of those areas that I wanted to pursue was to find me some acreage away from the city. My company is based in Atlanta, Georgia. It is Grace Security Consultants. We offer armed and unarmed security, property protection, warehouse, parking lot security, and such. And we offer opportunities for those in the security industry to also to franchise with our company by being a franchise manager to secure and manage their own accounts. And we pay them up to 90% of every contract that they secure and manage, as well as we offer opportunities for those as sales consultants to receive a 10% ongoing commission for every contract that we secure through their referral. So one of the things about my success is creating success for others. And that's how I do it through my private security company. Now, when I was able to acquire the necessary people to do the work, to expand my company, it gave me a level of financial freedom right there in America, which allowed me to now purchase property. I purchased 28 acres of land in southeast Georgia near Savannah, with the idea first in mind of just buying one piece of land for me to call my retirement home. Now I had a dream again that I could actually retire, meaning being able to do what I want to do, not what I have to do financially. So that seed from this worship leader planted the security company in me, which then allowed me to expand my thinking to saying, wow, I can actually find a way to beat the system, so to speak. I can relax, unwind, don't have to be under the stress and strain of how am I going to make ends meet. Because my ministry started over 30 years ago, and it was always based on food, clothing, and shelter for the sick, the poor, and the elderly. Particularly, I was sensitive to the people who were elderly, who I saw struggling in old age. Children are grown, grandchildren are grown, they're out of the house, they're somewhere else, living in another state. And they're basically living alone, struggling, trying to survive, just with basic living things. Cleaning the house, cutting the grass, fixing windows, doors, changing light bulbs, simple things that we take for granted when you're a young person. I always tell people the problem with being young is you don't stay young. You don't stay young, saints. So it will be advantageous to any young person, I'll call it 30 or below, to listen, to position yourself for life in the future. And if you felt like your past time is past, if you're an older person, 50 and above, you feel like, wow, I haven't accomplished much. I haven't accomplished the things I want to accomplish in life. I know what that feels like because I felt this very same way. As I mentioned, I was 50 years old when the seed for my security company came to pass. But I'm gonna let you know I made more money in the next 5 years than I had made in the previous 40 years, 30 years of working. From the time I left high school to the military to working for the state of South Carolina. In 5 years after starting that company, I made more money in 5 years than I made in the previous years from 18 to 50. And this is how real your dreams can manifest. But you must take action. It's not going to happen in a vacuum. It's not going to happen by itself. So let me get back to this, what that allowed me to later begin to do, which now allows me to be in Kenya, establishing works here, starting businesses here, buying property, developing a mission base here. It all came not just from these one moments, but this was some of the pivotal moments of my awakening to the person that God has always designed me to be. And I want each of you to be able to do the same. Starting this company gave me a level of financial freedom that I have never experienced before. I was able to purchase 28 acres of property with the idea first of establishing me a little spot for a retirement home. But when I went to look for the property, I kept being challenged because there were other properties that were for sale adjacent to the property. So long story short, God wouldn't allow me to have peace until I purchased every piece of available property. He had to shake my mind because my mind was once in a place of lack, a place of I don't have the money available, the place of borrowing, being a consumer instead of a producer or a distributor. So the Holy Spirit had to really minister to me and say, you're not in that condition anymore. That's where you used to be. This is the new version of you, where you don't have to wonder about where's the money's coming from. The money was in the bank. You see, as I mentioned, my security company began to grow so fast that I didn't have enough hours in the day to work all the accounts that I had, which meant I had no time to spend money. The money was just being stored up. So now when this opportunity came about, I was already positioned to be able to act upon my dreams. So I purchased the acreage, 5 separate lots. Remember, it all began for me just thinking I'm going to build me a retirement home just for me, a little small place. I don't believe in getting caught up in the American nightmare of buying big houses, getting loans from the bank, and then having to worry all day about how you're going to keep the house and the cars. I never ascribed to that by the grace of God. It was going to be a simple little cottage, what we call a tiny house in America. So I bought me one, put it on my 5-acre lot. Then I was questioning God, what do you want me to do with the other land that I purchased? And I pondered and pondered and pondered and always said to God in my early years of ministry, over 30 years ago, that whatever you do for me, allow me to do for others. So it finally got peace when the Holy Spirit led me to say, why don't you put other houses on the other lots? Or even offer opportunities for people who don't have access to land to build a house on this property and you live in community next to each other, just like I did back home in my youth growing up with my family in South Carolina. And that was the idea that gave me the most peace. So I began to act on that. We built 2 more cottages, developed a village that we call Paradise Village. You may have seen it in some previous videos. If not, I may add a link in the description of this video so you can see the manifestation of how that came from idea to reality, just like the idea of my company and the dream or idea of coming from America to Africa. I'm just showing you step by step the real things as they happen in my life. And I want you to know that these types of things can happen in your life as well, if you take action on your dreams. So that same property that God allowed us to develop, golf course, 3 other cottages that we used to help people who were going through struggling times, temporary transitional housing. Particularly, it was designed for those who may be age 55 and up in retirement on a fixed income, Social Security, If you're in America, you know that one of the number one costs is housing. So I saw a lot of elderly people that should be retired by now, but they're struggling with Social Security to afford a place to live and to pay for their medicine and to pay utilities and to buy food. So I wanted to do something about it. See, when we identify our problems, children of God or people listening today, we can be part of the problem or we can be part of the solution. I believe in being part of the solution. Talking and complaining about the problem will not solve the problem. We need people who will take action. And sometimes we say back home in America, put your money where your mouth is. I'm a firm believer in that. Now, I shared this dream and vision with family, friends, children, everyone. No one really bought into the idea of what it means to have Paradise Village and living next to each other, living in an affordable way, not getting yourself too over in debt, which the American society is all a capitalistic society. Everything's based on credit. Nobody really owns much things. They have a mortgage for a house. They have a car payment for a car. Even the cell phone they pay payments for. So that's one of the ills of the American society. But even in the midst of that, you don't have to think like everybody else think. You don't have to do what everybody else does. You have to set your own goals. I knew what path I wanted to follow with my life. I knew what type of lifestyle I wanted. I knew where I wanted to live, how I wanted to live. And I knew I wanted to have freedom to live life on my own terms, not being dictated by someone else. And that's the reason why we all offer opportunities through our security company for our team members to get their own accounts. I don't believe in people being somebody else's slave. I believe in setting and liberating every person financially, spiritually, mentally, socially, emotionally. No one should be a slave to another person. We're only bound to God. And so these are just some of the practical experiences that I went through, but it's not enough for me to relish in my success. I want to see you succeed. I want to see every person succeed. I want to see every person pursue their dreams and accomplish their goals. And this is what some of the experiences we've been sharing with you for those who may feel inspired to come to visit Africa, to stay in Africa, to retire in Africa. But I'm more using this video to talk to my American counterparts who that's not an option, or that's not something you can push yourself to do. Well, learn how to succeed right where you are. In America, in Europe, in Asia, wherever you are. Some of the keys you're going to need is first to have a goal, dream, and vision. Second, you're going to need to act upon those dreams. Third, you're going to need good people, a community of people that connect with you. Now, you may not have a lot of people. It doesn't take a lot of people to connect with. In fact, in most cases, the smaller your circle, the better, because you know who's committed and in it for the right reason. You know the motivation. Many people who heard me talk about the dream of Paradise Village never bought into it. There were one or two people, one or two persons in my family who bought into it, and friends who, and you know who you are, those who give and sow toward the vision of Paradise Village. And you have the option and opportunity to reap in that success by enjoying that property as well. Same thing is true for those who've seen me, watching me on my videos here in Kenya, talked about the dream of our Paradise Solai village in Solai, Kenya. Many have sat back and watched in America, and then they saw it manifest. They want to jump on the train after the train has already left the station, so to speak. And I'm sure some people who have succeeded in some type of endeavor in their life can understand what I mean. Not everybody will believe in the dreams that you have. But the most important to believe in your dreams is you. If you don't believe in your dreams, why should anybody else? And so you must put in forth the effort to make sure that your dreams come to pass with the help of God, that is, because we can do nothing without him. And so that land that we purchased, and I'll show you a clip of the video, we end up selling some of those lots. I wanted to sell it within a certain demographic of people, particularly black people, because I feel like many people from the ancestors have given away their wealth, which is land is their wealth, was their wealth. But now I have been speaking over the last few years to encourage black Americans to buy land or to hold on to the land that your family may have. Don't chase those false dreams of riches. You're trying to build wealth, not accumulate riches. Riches will be spoiled in this earth. Wealth is transferable. And this is kind of the mindset we're going to have to learn to get. Many people have not been taught this in America. Many black Americans have not been in a position where they could talk about having wealth or riches, because the circumstances may have left them behind the curve, but there's no longer an excuse for that in this day and age. Now it's past time for you to learn the strategies of how you can succeed right where you are, right in America, the same country that my parents were born in, I was born in. This being a black man in America, was able to accomplish the things that God has allowed me to accomplish with my own security company, with the Bible College Seminary, with the ministry that we've been doing for over 30 years, and now creating opportunities for others in business, in life. And so contact me, find out how some of my strategies that I use that may be useful for you of buying land. If you're going to stay in America, learn how to succeed in America based on your own standard and goals, not anybody else's. And this is what I'm looking forward to speaking with you about: how you can buy land with little or no money down, how you can learn how to connect with the right people. And if you don't, go it by yourself. The only blessing you need is the blessings that come from God. I'm a witness. And so this is the steps that God directed my life through thus far to lead me to the place where I can accomplish what I've accomplished there and still maintain those businesses and helping to grow businesses and creating opportunities for others right there in America, with the Paradise Village property in Southeast Georgia, with our Bible College and Seminary, with our ministry outreach. And now here we are in Africa, doing this, extending the same opportunities to those here that we've already accomplished and have given to people there. So if you're in America, you're looking at how you can build community, how you can start a business. If you're in the security industry, particularly in the state of Georgia, and you're trying to find out how can I start me a security company, or how can I partner with a company that would allow me to experience financial independence and have control over my own destiny, reach out to me. I love to discuss the opportunities with you. You can also visit my company website, gracesecurity.net. You'll see franchise page that explains the process that we go through with that. If you're a minister or a teacher of the gospel, we have a Bible College and Seminary which offers satellite school programs where you can generate income for your ministry and your mission, and also help make disciples around the world. It's time out for excuses, saints. I'm from America. I lived in America, still have places where I live in America. I'm also in Africa, have places in Africa, in Kenya, where we have established businesses here, have properties here. There's no reason why you can't do it with the help of God. But first, believe in a dream and act upon that dream with the help of God, and you'll see your dreams become reality. Well, I just hope I didn't take too much of your time. Hope I gave you some information that are relevant, something you can hold on to. If you'd like to reach out to me, feel free to contact me through the YouTube. Leave your contact information. I'll try to reach out to you, or you can schedule a consultation where we can discuss business, life, missions, relocation, and opportunities, whether in America or here in Africa. God bless you all. I send you greetings of Kwaheri, which means bye for now in Swahili. Bless you.